I'm Lucy, joined by Tamoor.
Hello.
And Dave.
Hello.
And we're here to break down Season 7, Episode 2, Stormborn of Game of Thrones. If you haven't seen it, turn away now because we're going to be going in depth into this thing. Let's get going.
Yar, they be spoilers.
You know.
But we're going to start off this week a little differently. We're going to start off with some corrections because people in the comments rightly pointed out that we made a couple of oopsies last week.
Raging.
So we are sorry we forgot about the Giants in Season 4. In our defense, it's been 3 years.
Also, we meant giants with the forces
yeah.
of the...
Giants.
We just didn't contextualize it
We
properly.
didn't contextualize properly. And we're
No
sorry
one was
about
wrong here. Everyone's right. We're all friends.
We're
We
all
did
friends.
also miss the song stuff.
Yeah.
that. So
But I think we're just so raging about it.
I think that the Ed Sheeran thing, we got a little caught up in the fact that,
He plugged his own album.
well, it was done a bit ham-fistedly, and we are sorry that we missed that because it was a very obvious foreshadow. But don't worry, because we're going to be doing a video all about all the songs in Game of Thrones and how they have been foreshadowing events and what Ed Sheeran's song means. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled for that. But now back to the actual episode.
So the episode starts on a stormy night, the same night that Daenerys.
It was a dark and stormy night.
Stormy night just made me think of the Funny Bones now.
Yeah.
So we've got this little gathering of Daenerys, her new hand, Varys is there. She's got all her allies in the same room, but she's kind of side-eyeing Varys, which is very interesting. And their head-to-head was really kind of the most impactful part of this meeting of powers, because Varys is, rightly so, he actually had a hand at the attempted assassination of Daenerys. So she's like, I don't trust you, Baldy. What's going on? What are you scheming at, Varys?
That's fair.
That is completely fair. But still, it happened. But the most impactful thing, I think, is that we finally see Varys' motives. He says that, I don't really care about monarchs. I don't care about king or queens. My allegiances to king and queens don't exist. My allegiances are to the people.
Yes.
And Daenerys has always been like power to the people, like freed slavers bay. She's always been people first. So they kind of had that bonding moment. I think now they're not, all sunshine and roses, but I think now after this they'll be a stronger team. But what I'm really interested in is now Varys has got like some royal backing, what he's going to do with all his spiders and his spies. I'd really like to see the ones that, if he's got any left in King's Landing, maybe see them like find out what's happening under the Citadel.
I do imagine that he must have. I don't think Qyburn's managed to get them all.
He wouldn't let his hold on King's Landing go completely. He's got to have something.
Yeah.
But there's another visitor. Missandei's got south far enough somehow. Again, another very interesting moment of the episode is when she comes to tell the story of the Lord of Light and the prince that was promised. But lo and behold, she's finally done something.
Missandei.
Missandei has finally said something impactful.
Actually.
That is good though, because that clears up a lot of stuff from questions that book readers have had for years, and also just the way that Azor Ahai and Prince that was promised has always been dropped in. Now we know it could be
The princess.
but it also could be both.
Yeah. So I'm well interested to see if it could be Dany or Jon or someone else, because now we finally got the meeting of Ice and Fire. The Jon Snow name drop was just close enough for Tyrion Lannister to be like, I remember him.
Up there?
That guy. So she's now summoned him. So maybe the whole Ice and Fire coming together. Prince that was promised. Princess.
I like that Tyrion was like, I know that Jon Snow guy. He's a great dude.
Sound
He's a
dude.
good egg.
You should call him. He's
Tyrion,
a nice man.
seal of approval.
Yeah.
All right, let's head up to Winterfell where Jon Snow is. But before we really get into that, let's put a pin in that for a second. In our YouTube comment section last week, Chris05 wrote something that I think is super insightful and that I'm going to be always thinking about, every time I watch Game of Thrones now. Chris05 wrote, everyone's wearing black because now everyone in the Seven Kingdoms are symbolic Night's Watchmen, whether they know/want it or not.
Is that why we're wearing black
really
as well?
smart. Yeah, we're all wearing black.
This is unintentional.
We are also Night's Watch now.
It's just because we have a very limited wardrobe. But I think that is super cool and super insightful. So always have this bearing in mind now. But obviously Jon gets the summons from Daenerys, and Sansa is being super cautious at this point. But Davos raises an excellent point that he doesn't know if the northern armies are going to have enough firepower to get rid of all the whites, which are the reanimated corpses of the dead, and if you think about it, there's technically like an unlimited number of those,
Yeah.
really. But he raises a great point that, you know, they don't know if they're going to be enough, the Northern armies are going to be enough to kill all the whites. But we do know that fire kills whites. And
Oh, yes.
You don't need any real special equipment to kill whites other than like fire and steel, and they have those. But Daenerys' dragons have those more in abundance. So this meeting is a good idea.
And again, the point that they're sitting on a nest egg of dragon glass as well.
Yeah, that's what, so I mean, you know, 2 reasons to go see.
He's got all the reasons.
I mean, third reason is that she's his aunt. You know,
Well, he doesn't know that yet,
He doesn't
and
know
neither
that
does
yet.
Family
she.
reunion.
I know. But also, what's interesting is an interview that came out of George R. R. Martin recently in Time magazine, I believe it was. He was talking about fire whites, which is kind of like a thing that I guess no one sort of really realized existed, but now that he said it, it makes complete sense.
Yeah.
So we know that ice whites are, you know, reanimated bodies of the dead by the Night King. So he's using like ice magic, I guess. But the Lord of Light, who uses the fire magic, has basically done the same thing. Like Beric Dondarrion, Jon Snow, reanimated from the dead. And now George R. R. Martin's saying he called Beric Dondarrion a white, but a white animated by fire instead of by ice. So I think that's really interesting. It'd be interesting to see if, you know, if either Melisandre or Thoros become sort of like the Night King equivalent of like raising the dead.
Yeah.
Although it seems like it takes a lot of effort, so I don't know if they
I
would.
mean, yeah, the ice has an ice sword. Beric has a fire sword.
Lot of nice parallels here.
Okay, so over in King's Landing, we have Cersei, who, having blown literally everyone up, friends, foe, family, whoever it is, doesn't matter, is now facing the task of having to win people to her side, which is proving to be quite difficult. So she's got the bannermen of the Tyrells there. Not a lot of them.
Not a lot,
I mean,
admittedly.
so you can kind of look at that and be like, oh, her forces aren't rather large. So she has to convince them to kind of abandon the Tyrells and join her side, which she's trying to do by playing up the idea that Olenna has kind of lost the plot a bit. And she's kind of also doing that by saying, look, she's aligned herself with a Targaryen, which, as we all know, Targaryens are real bad news, guys.
Bad news
You know,
bears.
she's trying to do that, you know, hoping that they forget that she literally just pulled a Targaryen maneuver to get where she is now.
Yeah.
And like, if you watch the scene, you can see some of them going, you know, and then like she's talking up the fact that, you know, Daenerys is bringing Dothraki with her and Unsullied.
is
and
what
she's
this is.
straight up going on discrimination, racism. She's like, listen, guys, you remember the Dothraki known for raping and pillaging? Being scared of the water, you know, that's kept them away, but they're coming now, so maybe you guys should kind of align yourselves with me. And then someone goes, what about the dragons? She's got dragons.
Great point.
And then Kaiban pulls up full video game PR and goes, we're not ready to talk about the dragons right now.
The dragon downloadable
yeah.
content, we are not.
Don't you worry about dragons.
we'll
Let
talk
me
about us.
worry about blank.
So everyone's like, kind of leaves, and it shows you the way that meeting ends in that, like, she made an argument and not everyone went, yeah! It kind of speaks to how the kind of power that the Lannisters had in King's Landing has kind of dissipated a bit.
Had,
yeah.
Especially if you compare that scene with like Jon Snow's King in the North scene, which is like, oh, I guess. But then by the end, everyone was like, King in the North. King in the North. Yeah.
So then in the next scene, we have Jaime, who's basically realized that that didn't go too well, so I'm going to chase down Randall.
Her name was Crandall.
Yeah.
Great name.
Randall, and he is a Tarly.
Yes,
So
Sam's
he's again aligned with, you know, he's pledged to the Tyrells. So he's like, hey, I want to make you the general of my army. You've done some cool stuff in your time. He's won a number of high profile battles.
He's the only person to have ever defeated Robert Baratheon.
Yep. So he's somehow a Tarly has managed to do that. So he's like, you should join my team. And bless him, like, he shows some fortitude. He's like, listen, I'm you know, pledged to the Tyrells, and Olenna's always been good to me. I know her. So Jaime has to again drive the point home that she's cracked, man. She's gone. She's cracked like my voice.
Emotional, you get it at this.
Like, she's bringing on Dothraki and all the bad guys that you know. And then he's kind of still like, not into it. But then he mentions we're gonna need a warden in the south. And classic Game of Thrones thing, all allegiances go out the window when you dangle a bit of power and dominion.
Yeah.
and he doesn't actually commit to it, but it leaves it on a note where you're like, maybe he might flip on this one. So like, it's interesting. The big takeaway is they've got an uphill struggle now. Like the Lannisters used to be able to just say, you need to back us, and everyone would be like, out of fear or out of loyalty, would be like, yep, we're going to do this. But now everyone's walking away kind of shrugging their shoulders and being like, give us a reason, which means they're in a bad position. They're on a back foot.
It's amazing, especially if you contrast it to when Jaime was at the Freys and he was talking to Walder Frey and he's like, why do we need you?
Yeah.
He's like, you need everyone you can get now.
Yeah, now, like, 'cause your sister / baby mama has just blown up everyone that used to care. So you need to fix up, look sharp.
What a reference.
Of course, my favorite part of this scene has to be the award for awkward introduction of the week, perhaps of the series, if you ask me, where
Best
Jamie's
name.
like, "Oh, you're Rickon, right? Rickon Tarly," and he's like, "No, my name is Dickon Tarly," and then just casually just saunters out of the scene like I've just dropped a bombshell.
Nice to
Like,
meet you, Dick.
in his mind, behind him, Jamie's probably like jaw dropped on the floor, like the great Dickon.
So, Jamie, Rickard, isn't it? Dickon. That's it.
New location time. How exciting. We're like 7 seasons in and we're getting to see new places.
A basement.
I mean, okay, so this is the Dragon Pit, which, so when the Targaryens were ruling in Westeros, they obviously couldn't have their dragons flying around all the time because they would, like...
Scare the shit out of everyone.
Yeah, mess shit up.
Dragon taking a dump in the middle of the street.
So they basically made, like, a dragon goldfish bowl. So, like, you know, if you keep a goldfish in a bowl, it's never going to get that big because it's, like, confined by the bowl. Same deal with dragons in the Dragon Pit, because if they weren't flying around, they would, like...
Stunted.
Yeah, stunted growth, and they'd be smaller. Except for the one massive dragon skull that you saw there. So that was Balerion the Black Dread, which was Aegon's dragon, that he used when the Targaryens were conquering Westeros. And that thing is massive. So I'm going to put up like a side-by-side of the size of that skull compared to how big Drogon is right now. But it's here that Qyburn is keeping his little PR pet project. So earlier he was like, we're not ready to talk about our dragon extermination plan. He's built like a massive ballista? Like, you used some words.
Arbalast, ballista, siege weaponry that fires a big bolt.
Nerd.
But what was really cool is, well, not cool. I mean, it's obviously not going to end well for Daenerys' dragons if one of them gets hit. So Qyburn discovered that dragons can get wounded if you get the spear in the right place. So he's made this big ballista, and just the way that it pierces through Balerion's skull is going to be bad news for them.
I mean, he's not factored in the fact that Balerion is not moving.
Yeah.
But if you get enough of those, rapid fire into the sky.
If he's going to mass produce them, then that's going to be a bad time for them dragons.
Especially if Dragonbinder comes back. I'm still holding out hope for Dragonbinder.
Never.
It's probably not going to happen.
Give me that horn.
Okay, so back in Dragonstone, we have Dany and company. They're not united yet because everyone has their own idea of what to do. Yara's like, Ironborn strats, let's just go in now.
Zerg
like,
rush.
Attack, Zerg rush, yeah, push the payload right now. And everyone else is like, maybe we shouldn't do that. And then there's some tension between Tyrion and I want to call her Madame Sandsneck because I just don't like calling her by her name. Illyria. I like her Madame Sandsneck. So there's some like tensions there because she's trying to pull some sneaky maneuvers and he's like, where we don't poison little girls, alluding to the fact that, you know.
That was the air horn moment.
Yeah. Marcella obviously got taken out, RIP. But like eventually Dany gets them all under control and reveals what the strategy is. And the strategy is really clever to kind of not attack King's Landing directly, but to send Westerosi forces to kind of lay siege to it from the all sides so that you're kind of cutting off supplies and food and that kind of stuff. What I really liked about this plan, and it shows like acumen to strategy and battle that doesn't involve Tyrion or Varys or anyone else giving the kind of, she kind of mentions Grey Worm, so I imagine he was kind of involved, but like sending your own forces to show that it's not an outside invasion.
Very clever.
Which is very, very clever. It's a battle of hearts and mind as well. And then the Unsullied and the, Dothraki, they're going to Castle Rock, the seat of the power for the Lannisters. Another new location. This has been mentioned a lot of times.
Yeah.
You know, Jaime was supposed to be sent there a bunch of times. He always promised to go there because that's the seat of their power. And they're going to take that over. And in doing so, they get a massive amount of gold. So that's the strategy. Everyone disperses. They kind of like agree to it, nod. It's a fragile alliance still.
Yeah, like Ilaria was like, she was a Lannister. I don't trust any Lannister. And Tyrion's like,
yeah, so like she's got a reason to continue hating Lannisters, even one that's kind of like turned their back on the rest of the family, which is tensions everywhere. Olenna is not too keen on Tyrion either, and like they have a private conversation where she offers some advice, saying that like your hand is smart, but like I've survived smart men by ignoring them, and she's effectively trying to create a rift between her and Daenerys and Tyrion by saying like everyone else is a sheep, you're claiming to be a dragon, behave like a dragon. And she's also kind of trying to push her into doing crazy things, which is you don't want Targaryens doing weird, crazy things, because obviously, there's a lot of history there, and that could undermine what she's trying to build and prove herself to be to the people if she starts doing crazy things. And then next scene.
Sex scene.
Sex scene. We have Grey Worm and Missandei. We're not going to overly explain what happens here, but it's basically Grey Worm talking about his history and how he was basically fearless. He was never strong. He was never the best warrior, but he was fearless. And that is until he met Missandei, because she is fine. So he's like, you are my fear now. Like losing you, I've got. So it's kind of introducing a weakness into a character that has until now just been fearless, and it's humanizing him as well.
He gonna die.
Unfortunately. It looks like he's got his bits out, or lack of bits out.
Can I just say that we
did a
this
frame by frame just to
Happy
check what
moment
was
for
there.
everyone.
And although at one point you can see a bulge,
I'm gonna have to edit this, man.
yeah, we're gonna have to zoom and enhance the bulge now.
Battle of the Bulge.
Battle of the Bulge, yeah. But you can't actually get a good look at what it.
Boy, did we try.
We tried. We wanted to see just how mangled it was. And then he puts his nubbin on her, and
the unsullied sullies.
he sullies himself. He's
Yeah.
now fully sullied. And then kind of like it's a nice heartwarming moment between them, but it's foreboding. It kind of something bad's gonna happen to him, and that sucks.
Although shout out to the transition.
That is
my
my
God.
nomination for cut of the week.
Just like I was really unsure as to what I was looking at for
Yeah.
a second.
Cut of the now, this one's one of the two. It's the least subtle. There's another cut of the week which we'll come to later, but it's the least subtle. But given what it's following, two people getting freaky with it. The hands into the triangular space.
Book flaps.
Put your fingers between the book flaps.
But in between reading all about the Lannister history, Sam has apparently learned how to cure grayscale.
Yeah,
He's
so
taking a risk.
He's found. Is this more books that he's found in the restricted section of the library?
It's not alluded to if it's restricted, but the other Maester is very familiar with it, so it could be. It's a very nice looking book, but it basically says that there's 2 reported cases of grayscale being cured by this Maester, and well, unfortunately, the Maester died of grayscale. So
Poetic.
how well is this? How good is this cure?
It's like when you see a dentist and his teeth are rotten.
Yeah, like
And you're
how's that happen?
What have you done here?
For a barber who's got a bad haircut.
Yeah,
like,
you're like, no, don't trust
not
you.
trusting you. But our favourite grey man, he's still in his cell, and he's writing his letter, which I zoomed and enhanced.
See,
And I was
went
going
full
to-
CSI on it.
I went full CSI, and I'm going to read it to you now.
Please, can you do it in his voice, please? Please.
Khaleesi.
I'm Jorah Mormont. Is that any good?
That's pretty good. Yeah, I like that.
Very good.
I came to the Citadel in the last hope that the Maesters could treat me as you ordered. Even with all their arts, I am beyond any cure but the grave. I have had a longer life than I deserved, and I only wish that I could have lived to see the world you're going to build, standing by your side. I have loved you since the moment I met you. If there is a next life... Sam walks in.
Baby, I want you so bad.
I was invested in that.
Yeah, that was going well.
Sam interrupts the note. I really hope that she's set up a forwarding address, because if he sends this to Essos, that's not getting to her. Anyway, enter Sam, keen as a bean to cure Jorah. He seems to be motivated by a connection that he had with Jorah's father, Lord Commander Gior. There's too many J's in this family. I'm just going to put that out there. Because he wasn't able to help his father when he was murdered, and he was with him when he died. So I think there's some kind of connection there that's making him want to cure him. But it's not a very nice cure.
Oh, mate.
No.
Dr. Pimple Popper.
Sam
Eat your
comes-
heart out.
Sam pretty much just sets onto Jorah like he's hacking away at a kebab.
Yeah, he's basically flaying him, right?
He's
Or he's, like,
got
skinning him.
full
He's
Ramsay
skinning him.
Bolton on him.
Yeah.
Well, he's got the book from that he alludes to from the Maester, and I
yeah.
again freeze framed it, but there wasn't much interesting there. There was one line that did say though,
Don't get any pus in your mouth.
said in diagnosing grayscale early, one must examine the body and then the urine and pulse. Gross.
Wait. Does that mean he has like some kind of urinary tract infection where it hurts to pee? Like little,
Oh, man.
he pees out gravel.
Pebbles.
Well, it alludes
Aw.
to that. You can diagnose grayscale before the scales actually start
okay.
Wait, like
showing
pregnant. Like
Yeah,
pregnancy.
let's just pee on this stick if you got grayscale or not.
If a boulder comes out of your...
No, that's kidney stones. Basically.
Okay.
Anyway, there's a nice diagram of a man being peeled, which Sam is obviously doing, and that was a tough watch. Did make me hungry for pie though.
Again, another
Luckily.
incredible cut.
Terrific.
Number
cut.
2, I think this is the transition of the week. The first one wins for puerile immaturity.
The other one was shock
Yeah,
factor because it went
this
from
one was
pussy
like-
body to chicken and mushroom pie, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Ugh."
In my brain, as soon as it happened, I was like, oh, they clearly used pie for this. And then it was actually a pie, and I was like, oh, nice.
I was sat there going, I'd kill for a chicken bacon, Greg's.
But I was thinking like you see the grayscale going down. How far does it go?
Okay, so now we're somewhere around the Riverlands. Arya has left Ed Sheeran and his merry men, and she's in Hot Pie's tavern, which is... I really love this scene because not only is it like the lovely emotional reunion with Hot Pie, and because like a lot of the times we've been like, yo, where's Hot Pie at? And I'm just glad
I mean,
he
you have
survived.
been. I forgot about him immediately.
I don't. When he came up and you went, oh, it's hot pie, I went, who?
Ah, fat guy.
Oh, that guy, the pie guy.
I really liked it because it was like this emotional thing, and also because Arya, like after killing the Freys and like I'm gonna go to King's Landing and kill Cersei, she's like so absolutely just set
Bloodthirsty.
on bloodthirsty and just like really harsh and just like not the cute little kid that we all knew and loved. But on learning that not only the Bolton's gone, that Jon won the Battle of the Bastards, and that he's now king in the North, the way that her little face lit up.
Yeah.
Why?
was
How did it
amazing.
take us so long to learn that? She's always eavesdropping. Surely someone's mentioned it before.
Yeah, you'd think that like even the Lannister troops that she was with would have maybe mentioned it. Maybe
Yeah.
they didn't know, but I guess I mean like they don't really have a very easy
Yeah.
way of like.
Yeah, you can't just send an
information to
email, be
pass.
like, Twitter update or something, like, hashtag kill the button.
Well, you can send a raven,
Yeah.
effectively a tweet.
God.
That's
Oh.
more of a
Sorry.
that's a call, not a tweet.
So you had this amazing moment where she sort of realized that like her family's alive and that she does this straight up 180 and goes straight back up to Winterfell. But it also means that, you know, she's still got hope inside
Yeah.
and she's still got a bit of her humanity rather than just being a straight up badass assassin. But also it's kind of going to be a little bit bittersweet because she's going up north just as Jon Snow is going down south. But I mean, Sansa will be there.
Yeah.
That's fine.
The hope is Sansa will be there.
I'm sorry.
So back in Winterfell, we have Jon calling his homeboys
And home lady.
home lady, one pint-sized sassy home lady, around to reveal that he's got some very important messages. So Sam has sent a raven, which a maester picked up and brought over the message. It says, yo, I found a lot of dragon glass.
Mad dragon glass.
You'll
fam.
never guess where it is. Dragonstone. Also, I got another message from Tyrion Lannister. Boo. And he's like, relax. And he's like, he's invited me, or the queen has invited me to come and parlay. And everyone else is like, this is a bad idea. Sansa goes, remember the Targaryens? They usually invite people over and then burn them. Maybe you shouldn't do it.
Remember our granddad?
Yeah,
Remember
remember
that time
him?
the granddad didn't come home?
Yeah, and everyone else is kind of skeptical about being, you know, having a Lannister there. And then little Lyanna, in her first act of defiance against Jon, goes, we put you as into the role of king in the north. We'd like it if you stayed in the north. And he's like, oh man, we need this power. We need the, you know, the resources, and we need powerful allies right now. So me and Davos are gonna hightail it up there and have a little chat with them. After that, we have a little run-in between Littlefinger and Jon Snow.
Lean finger, more like.
Always leaning Littlefinger,
He
unleans.
loves leaning against that wall, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's just
It's like
always
3
on that
episodes
one
now.
bit. Like, I'm pretty sure Dave was like, I'm pretty sure they just use the same
That's
clip
the
over and
same
over
shot.
again. Because he
They're
does.
just
Yeah.
Just him going,
He makes a series of bad decisions there, which is quite unique for Littlefinger. He said some really dumb
it's
shit.
basically like, your stepmom was hot,
Yeah.
and now your sister's hot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go
And
get
I'm
her.
saying this in front of all your dead ancestors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's
I'm not even
like,
supposed to be
"Oh,
in."
I loved your mum. And
well
like,
off.
just like I love your sister. Like, for those out there, don't ever tell a brother, like, I want to do your sister. Bad idea. So he gets punched for that. But before that, he's also like reminding John that he brought, the Knights of the Vale to the battle. And like, if you're going to do someone a solid, don't remind them of it constantly.
worst.
It's
Yeah,
just the
yeah, yeah.
worst. Like,
Bad form.
so like a series of bad decisions there by Littlefinger, gets himself clocked in the face, and
Choked
John,
out,
yeah.
son.
So we have tension there. It's that perpetuating that triangle, right? Where Sansa knows that she needs Littlefinger but doesn't trust him. Littlefinger is going to be using Sansa, and Jon Snow doesn't trust him, and Sansa's kind of doubting him every now and then again. It's like this really, again, another fragile, tense alliance where, there's opportunity for it to break down and unfold, which is going to be interesting to watch play out. We cut to Arya again,
Yeah.
just trying to start a little fire, which is much harder than it looks.
It is actually, you're trying.
Especially, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. Horse gets mega freaked out, like something bad's going on.
Horse
And-
sense is tingling.
And then she's surrounded by wolves. All the wolf budget is used in this scene, at the very least until probably the season finale. And then, the leader of the pack appears, and Arya believes it to be Nymeria.
Does look a lot like
It looks just like Nymeria, and
It's
she's
a
like,
big bloody wolf.
yeah,
as well.
she like
the
puts.
size of a pony.
It's massive, and I think there's an interview that we'll reference again later with Benioff and Weiss, who they talk about the reason the wolves aren't in it is because it's really difficult to get that big wolves there. So later on, so she's kind of like puts her sword down, is like, Nymeria, I'm going home, I'm going back to Winterfell, will you join me? And Nymeria's like, no, I'm taking the budget with me.
I got
Bye.
my plan.
Where am
So,
I
like,
pack at?
Yeah, and the interesting thing is, like, before she leaves, when she leaves, Arya looks at her and says, "That's not you," which is a really interesting reference to an earlier season. Benioff and Benioff's wife has talked about this, apparently, and Weiss talked about this in a kind of behind-the-scenes interview after the show aired, and it's actually a reference to when Ned Stark tells Arya that she's going to get married and become a lady, and Arya replies, "That's not me."
Oh, very nice.
So when she says "that's not you" to Nymeria, it's kind of her recognizing that, like her, Nymeria is not the kind of creature to have a defined destiny, one that's defined by someone else. She's a lone wolf now. She has her own priorities and family and things to look after. So it's a nice parallel between Nymeria and Arya, what they were and what they have become, which I really, really appreciate.
Nymeria.
Nymeria.
Yeah, but like if you just put their names together.
Nymeria.
Christ.
Can't believe you stopped this to make that happen.
I'm not being funny, but this isn't a pleasure cruise. Why is everyone so chill
Yeah.
on Yara's ship? Like, all the sand snakes just boozing, talking about who they'd either fight or I wasn't sure which. And then we have the cringiest display.
This was
of
so bad.
Daunish flirting that I've
This
ever seen.
was-
They're meant to be like wonderfully open and sexual people, and then she drops the foreign invader line.
Mate, that
That is
uncomfortable flirting of the week definitely goes
Yeah.
to that line.
or metaphor of the week. That is
yes.
It was
that is a bad one.
pretty grim, but thankfully we're saved from any more cringy pickup lines because, lo and behold, Year of the Black Parade's back. He's brought
I love.
his 1,000 boats, and he makes for a hard dude and for like a badass pirate and everything. He makes the least intimidating entrance I've
Yeah,
ever seen.
I think that also that could be a contestant for the most awkward introduction of the week, where he's like, am I falling or am I not?
Like he's got a massive badass axe in one hand, and he
Yeah, mate.
somehow makes himself look dumb.
Yeah.
I don't know. You guys say dumb. I was like,
What? How can you-
mate, you're not attracted to
He's
me.
no,
Littlefinger,
absolutely, he's like-
Euron. I don't know what's wrong with Lucy's taste in men, but we're saved from any more cringe, thankfully, because things go from 0 to 100
Real quick.
And funnily enough, the ship count goes from 100 to 0 real quick. Years of piracy has obviously left Euron and his dudes like super adept at ship fighting, and they just tear through these ships.
But like embarrassingly easily as well.
Yeah.
Like probably because everyone was drunk or sleeping as well. Euron takes out Nymeria and Obarasand. Like he only takes a couple wounds, and he kills 2 Sands. We've seen how badass they can be. He's just like tearing through them. But the worst thing he killed was any respect that I had for him, because he just shouts, "Give your uncle a kiss."
Give your uncle a kiss.
Okay, I'll admit that bit. Not a fan.
He is a pervert.
At the end of the day, he won.
He did, but he can only do with the lines that he's given. Okay, let's leave Pilo Asbeck alone.
All right, yeah, he is a solid dude. He's a good dude. But after the ships and the crews, Euron decimates that navy, captures Ilaria, Tyen, and Yara. That's 3 hostages. And we thought, oh my God, it's time to shine. He's had his dick cut off, but he's gonna step up to the plate. And he jumps in the sea.
Oh, Theon, mate.
Theon, please.
Come on.
And he doesn't even go very far. Like, he jumps in the sea and just stays
He's
there.
looking up and he's like, that's my ship.
Ooh, that's
I'm
my
not very good
ride.
at swimming.
But I mean, the thing is as well, it's like the number that Ramsay did on him was incredible, and like Alfie Allen, like absolute major props, because the way that like his eye was twitching and he was just like
he did
having
play off
this
well.
freak out, and it was like, I don't know, because I guess you think that he's not with Ramsay anymore, he's gonna be fine.
Nah.
That's not how
Just
that
earlier
shit
in that
works.
scene though, he was like, I'm gonna be her advisor and her protector. You jumped in the sea.
Get in the sea.
God damn it, Theon. Been a comment that Quad Hunt had. They rightly said that Euron has to have a dramatic effect on Dany's army to kind of earn his place in the story, and then also earn his place at Cersei's side. So, what do we think is going to happen to the captors? Are these his gifts that he's going to present to her?
Yeah.
Pretty good gift.
2 Sands and Yara.
The people that killed her daughter,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So she's going to have a good old
Ooh,
time
they're
with
gonna
them.
have a bad old time.
We're
Yeah.
gonna have a bad time.
The mountain has been seen in a while.
He's been busy in the basement with the.
Oh, except do now.
Ooh,
It's probably about done right now.
All right, obviously at the end of every episode, HBO releases a next time on Game of Thrones, so we're gonna like go through it with a fine-tooth comb. If you don't want that to be spoiled, turn away now. Don't forget to leave comments below, and we'll talk about it next week. But if you do want to kind of theorize with us, then stay tuned. So it starts off with Daenerys being like, I was born to rule the 7 kingdoms, and I will. But there's a bit of an issue that I don't think she really banked upon. What with Euron, destroying a lot of her ships. But then we do get to see Euron getting a absolute hero's welcome in King's Landing. Could be that his gifts are going to be the Sand Snakes and Yara, because what gifts?
I don't understand why everyone seems to be gathering around and clapping. Like, they don't know who he is. They don't know who those gifts are. They're like, yes!
Hey, it's that pirate! Hey!
They're just big My Chemical
They're
Romance
just like,
fans.
someone just went, clap! And they went, yeah.
Please clap. The mountain's holding up a sign that says applaud.
You'll clap or I'll come down there.
We also get to see a wee glimpse at Casterly Rocks. I'm actually amazed that this is coming around so quickly, but you also get that image of Grey Worm putting on the helmet, which I think might be the last time he does that. I think
Because he's going to retire.
He's going to retire.
He's going to
happily.
come back and rub his nubbin all over the place.
But also we see Jaime sort of walking down this little corridor. Could it be that Jaime is actually sent up there as well, which would be quite interesting, defend the family home. We see Sansa walking out of the Godswood, and she looks stressed. Could it be that, obviously her and Littlefinger keep having these little chats in the Godswood. Could it be that he has tried to interfere with her once again by planting seeds of doubt?
Or try to plant a kiss on her again.
Yeah.
And she's like, I am tired of this.
I hate this. So Go Trek Fabian on GameSpot.com wrote, not much to go on for future theories with this setup episode other than what you covered, but I sense that Baelish will be seizing his opportunity to gain more power and persuasion via Sansa when he gets his chance, but I just can't work out how yet.
Well,
I think we got the chance. I think this is probably going to be it. Also, we have Jon and Davos arriving at Dragonstone, so he's finally going to meet his aunt, and Fire and Ice are going to meet. What's interesting is that could it be that Daenerys is going to introduce him to her dragons, and maybe by them, because he has Targaryen blood, they're not going to freak out when they meet him, and maybe that's how they figure out that who Jon's family really is.
might be awkward if Melisandre's still there. He's like, oi,
I told you to get out of
Sorry
here.
if I saw
Yeah, that's
you
what
again.
I'm most looking forward to, because he literally said, if I see you again, I will 100% murder you.
But also the episode is called The Queen's Justice. So if Euron is going to give the Queen, Cersei, her gifts, the Sand Snakes and Yara, what kind of justice is she going to dole?
She's going to be like,
The bad kind.
you're on top of the world.
Oh, Tam, stop it. There's a sword here. I'll run it through you.
Rate and subscribe my pun.
Thanks for watching this week, everyone. Don't forget to leave your comments in the box below because we love reading them. We love reading your theories and trying to see how they'll fit into the broader Game of Thrones canon. Don't forget you can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Lucy James Games.
I'm at Tamoor H.
And I'm at a regular Dave.
And also use the hashtag GSOT if you want to talk to us on there. We will see you next week.
Goodbye.
Bye.